Well, good evening, everyone. It is your old Cavan Dodger back here again, 3 weeks later, over 3 weeks later, and today is the 26th of the 8th, 2022. This is going to be a very, very short podcast. It's for the simple reason that I want to get something recorded and have it out there on the internet for posterity. You know the way it is, everything can be wiped from the internet, but somewhere in the deep recesses of the archives of Google and whoever else has access to it, my podcast may be found in future years. So that's why I'm doing this one today. But not only that, I also want to alert you to what is going on and to maybe attract your attention to an aspect that I don't think we have really thought about here in Ireland. I've been watching people post things the past couple of days or the past couple of weeks, and I have a podcast planned, but there's no worry about it because it's an ongoing issue with the World Economic Forum and with the things they are saying and doing there and initiating. But what has come to my attention now the last couple of days is that a lot of Irish people are becoming homeless. And today I saw something about 250 new homes in City West. I assume that is Dublin, somewhere in Dublin, the City West, that Irish people don't qualify for one of these 250 new homes. And I'd be wondering why that is. Firstly, we have a huge amount of homeless people. And now I would have to ask myself if the houses and the apartments that they were evicted from have the same long-term purpose as the things I am reading the last couple of days. That was the one thing that came to my attention. I know there are modular homes being built in Cavan, and apparently they too are not destined for Irish people. They are for the Ukrainian refugees, and I'd be wondering what the idea is of giving refugees a home as such. A refugee to me is somebody who is fleeing from terrible conditions in the country they're in, and of course many of them have gone to the country next door, which is Poland, and but I'd be wondering how they actually got flown out and into here and are being offered permanent homes. That's the one thing. And I don't think anybody would really mind if and how many homes these people were offered. But when they are prioritized over our own people, our own Indigenous Irish population, who are themselves driven to the streets to live in tents, then you begin to ask questions. Then I begin to ask questions. And I've been asking these questions for quite a long time, but it's not really my thing. My main focus of interest is not patriotism in that sense. But when it comes up way too often and I meet disadvantaged people personally, then I begin to take an interest and I begin to stand up for them. Then I saw something else which was, hold on now, it's a post in Facebook. 4 Cork lads with medical issues have been thrown out of their rented house into a B&B as the landlord is giving it to Ukrainians. Okay, so I mean, how long do we have no rental rights here in Ireland? Is there no protection for renters after they've rented for a certain amount of time? Is there no contract where an agreement was come to that as long as you pay your rent and keep the house in fairly good condition, that you really cannot be chucked out at random and on a whim. But this is more than just a whim. This is obviously pure greed and with very ulterior intentions, in my opinion. That is another post I saw. And then another one I saw was a Donegal woman. She occupied a house, I think, for several years, could be up to 10 years or maybe more than 10 years, with her 2 dogs. And now she has been given notice by her landlord that he would like her to move, or he wants her to move out, because he is now wanting to rent it to a Ukrainian family. Now, with all due respect to our refugees, it doesn't exactly endear them to the Irish heart when Irish people are being thrown out on the streets to accommodate them. That is really shocking. But the real reason, and the first and foremost reason that I am doing this podcast, is because somebody approached me the other day to alert me about what I would call an atrocity here in Cavan. I'm in Cavan. I think most of you know that I am in Cavan, in the centre of Ireland, in the hidden heartlands, as they call it. And something really terrible has happened. And I'll read out a letter to you that a mother received recently. The background is that her boy, her 16-year-old boy, was accepted for a college. It's called Breifne College in Cavan. He was accepted. He went there with the other new students, was shown around, shown the facilities and around the grounds, and showed everything, and they were looking forward to seeing him. Then on the 24th of August, that's a day or two, or maybe just a day before the school was about to start up again, this letter appeared in the letterbox of the parents. And I'm not naming any names. I have names here if anybody doubts what I'm talking about. And I particularly address the politicians in this county. The letter goes anyway: Dear Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, thank you for returning the BOMR1 form. This letter is to inform you that in consultation with the Board of Management chairperson, the board decided to uphold the decision of the school in not accepting your son for the reasons stated below. Reason number 1 is due to the burgeoning numbers. Reason number 2 is the oversubscription in each of our year groups. And reason number 3 is the lack of social spaces. Now that's the official version, signed by a Mr. John Crotty, Secretary, Board of Management. I think he's actually one of the teachers there as well. But this is the official version. And the unofficial version, when the mother went to the school and demanded an explanation, was that unfortunately the school is under pressure from the school boards. I'm assuming, but only assuming now, that this is the CMETB, Cavan Monaghan Education and Training Board. But I'm not sure. It could also be pressure from the Ministry of Education. The explanation was that they are forced to favour the Ukrainians and to take on all these students to fill the classes, leaving this one boy and 17 other boys. The placements were taken from them because the school was threatened by the government with sanctions if they didn't place 200 Ukrainians in the school. So that was the explanation, the unofficial one, verbal. Then also the same woman was able to tell me that 2 travellers got rejected, and they apparently or allegedly got letters like the one I'm after reading out as well. Now, travellers are in a minority here in Ireland, and they have been recognised as an ethnic group here in this country with the same rights and obligations, of course, as every other Irish citizen. And our travellers have been here long before many of us. So that is another atrocity. And today I'm addressing our politicians, Mr. Brendan Smith, Mrs. Niamh Smith, Councillor Brendan Fay in Belturbet. He's an independent councillor. He fought long for the retainment of our college in Belturbet itself, the St. Brichan's College, that was under threat of being closed down, the same as Bonboy School. College was also under threat of being closed down, and they were going to build a huge complex or college in the middle of the two towns, or between the two towns of Bonboy and Belturbet, which would be Ballyconnell. So they were going to build this huge school, and they were only planning on building it for 300 pupils or students at the time. But just think what would have happened if they did a quick build, and now they would be overflowing again. But I'm addressing these people, and I'm asking them, why do we hear nothing whatsoever of your voice standing up for these boys and girls who have been refused a place, and goodness knows where else they have been refused, and they're just staying quiet about it. I'm also asking you if the reason you are being silent is because you are dancing to the tune of the Calergy Plan, which consists of the replacement of populations in each and every European country. The Calergy Plan that sees only one race in future. There will be no mixture of races, there will be just one race. And it will all be manipulated and engineered by replacing the population, by bringing in other populations. Another question would be are you dancing to the tune of the World Economic Forum, who also has ideas about boundaries, about borders, who want to get rid of borders, who just want one big United States of Europe, where nationality, where sovereignty has disappeared out the window, and where patriotism is as our Taoiseach himself said, an outdated idea. Are you dancing to that tune? Well, whatever tune you're dancing to, it certainly isn't to the tune of the Irish people. You are not representing the Irish people in their own country. You're representing a globalist ideology, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that this evening. I will alert people, though, to something that a fellow podcaster said this evening. Well, I don't know if he said it this evening, but I only listened to it this evening, and he has warned about unrest in the coming months when the food shortages become really apparent, and early next year when there will be shortages and when people will become unsettled and will start to rise up. And he has alerted us to the fact that in England, he knows that in several hotels across the country, there are foreign troops posing as migrants and as refugees. There are foreign troops there waiting to be deployed to keep the uprisings in check. So I'd like people to look into that here. If a lot of the young, strong, single men that we have spotted in different refugee centres all over Ireland, different hotels, mind you now, all over Ireland, if they are not actually UN troops in disguise. Just look into that. And for now, I'm going to sign off because I want to get this out tonight and have it on air as soon as possible. And maybe some of our local radio stations will pick up on it and deal with it in some way, give this some publicity and the attention it deserves. Bye-bye for now. Look after yourselves and do look out for one another.